Well, well, well.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy 2015, everybody.
Yeah.
Let alone happy Wednesday. Happy 2015.
Happy 2015.
Hope you guys all had a fantastic Christmas, New Year's, Kwanzaa, Festivus, Hanukkah.
Happy Hump Day.
Hump Day. Mike. What day is it? Is it Hump Day?
How is everyone this evening?
I am...
a blustery evening.
I've got sweaty palms tonight.
Yeah,
That's
you
what
do.
I've got.
I feel like you're on your first date, and I'm your chaperone.
I kind of am.
That's what it feels like.
I'm a little upset you poured yourself scotch and not me.
Wow.
But that's okay.
Wow. Outed on the radio.
So over the last couple of weeks, there's been on Wednesdays and Thursdays on DTM, there's been massive archive replays going on because obviously with the holidays, we didn't want to be broadcasting to people wrapping gifts and yelling at their kids. So
listen, let's face it, no one wants to hear our voices on Christmas Eve, okay? You want to hear Dean Martin and what's the what's the other guy's name? Burl Ives.
Burl Ives.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perhaps some Johnny Mathis.
We had the happiest Christmas. Bing Crosby tap dance with Danny effing K. Anyway, how is everybody doing? Thank you for tuning in tonight.
Paranormal Hangover.
Yeah. We got some person coming on tonight.
Oh God.
Guy.
What is his name? He's got my brother. He's got the same name as my brother.
It's
Josh.
Josh
Gates.
Gates. That's him.
Joshua Gates.
Gates. Josh Gates will be joining us this evening.
Very excited about that.
Yes. I'm
Sweaty palms.
Yeah.
Sweaty palms, Arvilla.
I must admit, okay, if I get any starstruck with anyone, there's a couple. John Zaffis, he's one of them.
Yeah.
That's one of the guys I'm like, oh, blah, 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 John, blah, blah, blah.
Uh-huh.
And I got to admit, Josh Gates is intimidating me a little bit tonight, so.
I think it's going to be a very fun interview. Seems like a very cool, he's very intelligent, he's very funny, he's got a lot on his plate.
Sure does.
You know, he's experienced pretty much everything, including balut, which I will ask you about, Josh, because I just don't know how you even looked at it and held it in your hand, let alone bit into it and ate it.
I don't know.
We'll find out.
Balut's pretty disgusting.
Coming up on Paranormal Hangover.
If you don't know what balut is, we'll discuss balut in a little bit. I'm sure Lauren will want to bring that up with Mr. Gates.
Yep.
Also, while we've got everyone's attention at the moment, we want to talk a little bit about SalemCon.
SalemCon 2015.
SalemCon 2015.
Which I can't believe it's 2015 and it's going to happen in 3 months.
Another reason to throw up in my glass right now.
3 more months.
2015, SalemCon, April 10th and 11th.
Mm-hmm.
And 12th technically because it is Sunday morning and, people will be waking up and rolling out of their beds and trying to get to the airport and stuff and whatever they're doing. Tickets are starting to sell pretty quickly. Tickets are flying. We've got a few vendor tables left. Mm-hmm. There's still a sponsorship, not a sponsorship spot, but a sponsorship spot. The sponsorship spot is the headline sponsor.
Yeah.
If you need information, click on mghparanormal.com. That's where all tickets, tables, sponsor information is available.
Yep.
I think it's going to be well worth it because there may be a little trick up a sleeve that people are going to want to maybe want their name attached to it when it happens.
Okay.
So
I get what you're saying.
We'll see what happens.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
It could happen. We'll see. People are going to want their name attached to it. I'll tell you that. Speaking of names attached to it, we do have our lovely sponsors for the VIP party.
Yeah.
Generic Black Shirt Paranormal Group.
That's right.
And the Paranormal After Party. Those folks over there will be sponsoring that VIP party.
Those crazy cats.
You can catch their stuff at paranormalafterparty.tv. Mm-hmm. That's where you can see their show. You can also check them out on Facebook at... Go ahead.
No, they've got a new season coming up, don't they?
They do. New season coming next month, I believe.
Yeah.
Generic Black Shirt Paranormal Group on Facebook.
I always forget about the paranormal part. I always say GBSG.
Yep. They had to throw that in there.
Yeah.
And they also have the Paranormal After Party site on Facebook as well.
Okay.
We have Marcel Obey with Gone Haunting is sponsoring our ghost hunt. Mm-hmm. And then we also have Pete Stagman, our dear friend over at Parahunter.
That's right.
So if you've watched the Ghost Hunters and you've seen them run around with those cool POV glasses, that's Mr. Stagman in Parahunter. They sell the glasses. We sell the glasses as well on our website.
Mr. Peter Stagman.
But those are available too, and Pete's going to be there sponsoring the conference, the All-Day Con and Lecture Series.
Yep.
So, and then we got some great celebrities, as you all know, who will be there. Some other folks who are joining in as we speak. The Gettysburg Ghost Gals will be there.
Oh,
Dr. Spector plans to arrive as well, from my understanding. So Frank Stinelli will be around. So we got quite a few people who are going to be joining the fun on that weekend when we get there.
April 10th and 11th.
Salem Con. Hawthorne Hotel. The Ghost Hunt will not be at the Hawthorne Hotel.
We have undisclosed locations for the Ghost Hunt.
Yes, at the moment, due to contractual obligation, we cannot disclose the locations just yet, but they will be coming soon.
Contractual obligation, those are just Marc's nice. That's his nice way of saying Lauren has OCD and will not allow the names to be released until everything is fit as a fiddle. All the T's, dot your I's and cross your T's.
Yes.
So that's how that's going to go.
We're excited. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be a good time. Lots of buzz, lots of people. We actually had some folks from California purchase a VIP pass, so it's all around.
That was very cool.
People flying out from California to come to this, so it's going to be a good time. And we're not like Tobin. Tobin had people from Alaska and people from across the pond coming by to
we're not that cool.
Sorry, I just took a drink of scotch. Anyway.
But anywho, back on track.
Yes, back on track.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time.
It is going to be fun.
And what else is going on today? Besides the fact that it's -1 degree here in Gloucester.
It is pretty dang cold out. And I think all the most of the country, except for those lucky folks in California.
And Florida.
Yeah. And Hawaii.
They
could probably be thankful for the weather they're having. But soon, as you all know, we have our very, 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 very special guest coming on in just a little bit, Mr. Josh Gates, joining us with his new show that debuts tomorrow night at 9 p.m.
Yep, 2-hour season premiere.
Yep.
Series premiere.
Yep. It's the Amelia Earhart series premiere. So if some of you are looking at your dish or satellite and you see something about Amelia Earhart where Expedition Unknown should be, that is the show.
Yep. Oh, is it still doing that? Is it still?
I don't know. I could tell as of yesterday.
Confusing the names? Okay.
As of yesterday, it was. So.
As of yesterday, apparently DirecTV was not placing Expedition Unknown as the title of the TV show. It was placing the actual episode title as the title. So
folks going, I want to see Josh, are going, why am I watching Amelia Earhart tomorrow instead? What's going on?
I don't like Hillary Swank, and I don't want to watch her for 2.5 hours. No, I'm just kidding. JK. Hillary, if you're listening, you're a good sport, and I like you.
This is great. Everybody says every 10 seconds or so the sound fades. It's not very good.
Oh, it's not good.
Yeah, we're having some audio issues, which is not so cool.
I wonder if it's, well, no, that wouldn't make sense. I wonder if it's the poles outside swaying in the 50-mile-an-hour winds.
We have some folks asking, how did we get Josh on? We'll never tell.
Never gonna tell ya. Nanny, poo.
There's a secret recipe to things, and we're not giving that secret recipe. You know, the chef gives you all the pieces of the recipe except for that one special ingredient that puts it over the top. Yep. You're not getting the special ingredient. Not that there was much of a special ingredient, but still.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
There is. Mm-hmm. It's love.
It's
the special ingredient is love.
It's love.
So, if anybody, special ingredient is love. I'm being told your voice is echoing in and out.
How is it echoing in and out?
Because
what am I, sitting in a tube? All right, hold on. Move over here.
No, just don't yell.
Is this better?
Talk quietly like I am.
I can't.
Because when you talk loudly, it echoes and causes audio issues.
You know I can't speak quietly.
Well, you're going to have to.
It's not possible.
Is this better? Can everyone hear Lauren just fine now? Is this good for Lauren?
Should I sit back 45 feet from the microphone? I'm going to sit in the other room.
Yes, this is fantastic. Oh, my goodness. But we are, so yes, as the show comes to a slow crawl right there, and it completely halts. Thank God someone is calling in to rescue us at the moment.
Okay.
So we're going to take the caller, and hopefully this will be our very special guest for the evening. Caller, you're live on the air with Paranormal Hangover.
Hello, this is Josh Gates.
Is this the pizza guy? Did you call me with the pizza order I called in?
Yes, this is Josh Gates, the pizza guy. I'm calling about your pizza.
Excellent. Wonderful.
Hello, Josh. How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Very well, thank you.
I want my pizza. Wait, oh my God, it's actually Josh Gates. I'm sorry.
You seem to be. I hope you're enjoying your 74-degree weather because it's -1 here in Gloucester.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, but that's what happens when you live in Gloucester. But you get to live in Gloucester, which is cool.
We traveled through Manchester by the Sea today on our way home, and I kept thinking to myself.
That's the official pronunciation, by the way. You have to say it that way.
Exactly, correct. Manchester by the Sea.
That's right.
You know, Josh, I saw your photos from the holidays, from Christmas time, and I saw the lovely New England Christmas dinner you were having, and then I looked at my plate and saw the lovely roast I had and said, that's not the same thing Josh is eating. What's going on here?
Actually, it was kind of a mix-up this year. My mom always does a turkey for Christmas, and this year she said, F it, we're doing lobster. And I said, all right, great, let's do it.
What in the picture, what were those present-looking objects that had, it looked like
those are Christmas crackers, and my mom is, so my dad's a local, he's from the area, my mom is British, and it's a big thing in England. They're like these weird little, it's hard to explain what they are, but they're called Christmas crackers, and basically what happens is you have one at each person's setting, and each person grabs the end of one, and you pull it, and it has like a little, firecracker's too dramatic a word, but it has a little snap thing inside of it, and then it rips so that one of the two people pulling it gets the bigger half, and then it's stuffed with like, I don't know, there's like a toy and a prize and a paper crown and a joke, and it's like, I don't know, it's some English tradition that they do at dinners, and so we always have them every year, and then we have to wear these stupid paper crowns for the entire dinner.
That's really cool, though.
That's fun.
Traditions are fun.
Yeah, fun traditions.
That's awesome.
They're great.
We're getting feedback tonight, Josh, just so you know that I guess audio is having a little bit of a difficulty, but I just want to make sure you can hear us fine. That's all that matters to me, I guess.
I can hear you fine. I'm getting no feedback from you. I hope I'm not causing it.
I don't think so.
No, you're fine.
It was before you came on, so don't worry about that. You've been a busy guy today, by the way. Have you had a chance to eat anything yet?
I've had a sandwich, but yes, it's been kind of a nutty day. I woke up at 4 a.m., and I did a radio media tour this morning, and then hosted a couple of media things here at the office, and then I'm actually technically still in a Reddit Ask Me Anything thing over on Reddit, and I'm also here with you. So it's been kind of a wild day.
We dropped in on the Reddit thing for a moment, and I agree with you on the 100 duck-sized horses rather than a horse-sized duck. I agree with that.
First of all, this is like the 100th time that I was asked about that. I don't know where this came from. I know nothing about the origin of this thing, but it seems to me like it's a no-brainer. Like if they're specifically trying to attack me, then of course I'm going to take 100 duck-sized horses over one enormous duck that's trying to attack me. I feel like I have a way better chance stomping out tiny duck-sized horses. I think a lot of people listening to this are like, what the hell are they talking about?
You're like, wait a minute, doesn't he have a new show? Why are we talking about horses and ducks?
I imagine him dressed in a suit of armor, like swinging at the ducks.
Totally.
Tiny horses.
I just think you have a way better chance against tiny horses than you do a giant duck.
Oh, man.
That's pretty funny.
As everyone knows, Josh is well known for Destination Truth, and you've written a book as well, and you are quite the globe trekker. I will tell you that. I've loved watching you on Destination Truth, but I'm very interested in finding out about this new chapter and where you're heading with Expedition Unknown. My main question that of everything I wanted to ask you today was, how is Expedition Unknown different from Destination Truth? What can people expect to be different?
Right. It's a musical, so there's going to be a lot more dancing.
Nice.
It's different, I think, in some really fundamental ways. It's look, Destination Truth, which we did for 5 years on Sci-Fi, was such an awesome experience. Really, the greatest thing that I've done in my career. It's just been so much fun, and I had such a great time making that show. But it had a couple of kind of limitations to it. It had a format limitation, which is that every episode basically was 2 segments within the hour, which was really tough for us trying to do a travel format.
Right.
It works a lot more, organically on a show like Ghost Hunters. But when you're trying to do an investigation, but you're also trying to do this whole kind of travel element and to touch down with a bit of the culture and the destination of a place, it became really crowded, And so that was always a bit tricky for us. And it also was kind of a limited sandbox in that we were always kind of having to tell very specific types of stories. It had to be something paranormal or cryptozoological. Not that was a problem, because those stories are super fun and interesting and scary. But it did mean that if we went to another country where there was a really interesting thing happening that didn't happen to fit into those categories, we kind of couldn't do anything with it. So the show came to kind of a natural conclusion. 5 years is a nice long life for a reality show, and we really felt like we wanted to kind of progress to what felt like a more organic fit for us in terms of this type of storytelling. So we went and took a lot of meetings with almost every network really around. I mean, we went to New York and D.C., and we had meetings here in L.A., and we had a lot of interest from different people, and Travel Channel, though, really kind of came to the front of the line and really seemed to be in sync with what we wanted to do. And so Expedition Unknown still is a first-person kind of mission-oriented show where I go and investigate things around the world, but it's much more iconic legends and mysteries now, and we have the opportunity to spend an hour on the journey, on the adventure, which means we can do kind of a deeper dive and get into things a little bit differently than we could before. So I think some of the DNA is there, but it has a very different feel to it. It feels like we've got a bit more time to spend on the things we want to highlight, where there's a bit more of a recreation element, a bit more history to it, a bit more culture to it, but it's still very fun and active and very first person, and we're really trying to make the viewer feel like they're there with us.
Yeah. Nice. Speaking of diving, are you going to be doing any diving for any episodes?
We are, yeah. There's quite a bit of diving in the premiere episode. So the premiere is tomorrow, Thursday, at 9, 8 Central on Travel Channel, and it's about Amelia Earhart. And so we're investigating the disappearance of Earhart. There have been these really cool, interesting new developments in that story, and so we're chasing those down in this 2-hour special. And one of those developments is some sunken wreckage in the South Pacific. And so there's some really cool diving where we go down to look at these reports of a crashed airplane underwater.
Right. Wow. That's awesome. I know you're a scuba diver, and I know you also studied archaeology. When I was in college, I have a master's degree in archaeology myself, and when I was in college, I had attempted or thought about doing underwater archaeology, and I went scuba diving, and it was the worst experience of my life.
Oh my God, I've never heard anybody say that. Usually everybody who goes diving ends up kind of falling in love with it. What was it you didn't like about it?
I got so seasick, and I don't know what it was. I mean, I'm terrible. You can't take me on a roller coaster. I can't ride in a car unless I'm sitting in the front seat. So going underwater for an extended period of time, I was so sick. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It's not for everyone in that sense. If you get kind of motion sick, it can be a little rough, especially getting to and from dives.
Yeah, exactly.
So how many episodes have you filmed for this coming season? Is it a brief season? Are we looking at 6 episodes, 10 episodes, 13, 150?
12.
12 episodes.
Yeah, we're looking at 12. So the first one is a 2-hour special, and then 11 1-hours after that.
All right, cool.
So
yeah,
of these episodes, and I know you can't really go into to too much. It's in one of them, and again, this is coming from the Reddit conversation from earlier. You had quite the experience with Balut.
Yes.
What is when you go into these countries and they say, hey, here's the food, you're gonna eat this. Do you go, yeah, sure, I'll eat it, or is there a lot of Josh, you've got to do this for the show? You must eat this.
No, I kind of know what's coming now. It's like, look, when you do these kind of stories, you go into a lot of developing nations and kind of faraway places, and a lot of those communities have their own customs, their own cuisines, and so you find yourself being presented with a lot of sort of offerings. You find yourself in different ceremonies where you're invited to try certain things, and it's really would be very difficult to say no, would be very ungracious to say no, and so I know that's part of the deal. And I'm a pretty adventurous eater, but certainly, look, there are things that are really tough to eat. That balut is one of them. For those who don't know, it's an overdeveloped duck egg. It's basically like eating an egg, but the egg has like feathers, and there's like an embryo in there. It's like almost duck, and so it's like eating a little fetus. It's really horrible, and it's a delicacy in the Philippines, and it's the only thing I've ever tried to eat on camera that I just immediately threw up. I just couldn't keep it down.
I can't imagine that. I've seen I watched Zimmern eat it, and I think Anthony Bourdain ate it. I couldn't stomach watching it. Eggs themselves, just the egg yolk itself, uncooked.
It's tough, yeah.
Yeah, so an overdeveloped, but I can't. All right.
Yeah.
On to the next.
It's brutal.
Yeah, and you're right. You're right about that. You know you have to be polite and you accept it and you try it and with a smile as you're trying really, really hard to swallow it to get it down. This is really good. Thank you very much.
You ever wonder if some of these countries, like, they find the grossest thing they possibly can and they build up a tolerance to it just so they can watch outsiders come in and they'll be like, here, try this.
There actually are some things like that. Like there are countries where you see them selling like fried spiders, and I've tried that. And you look around and you're like, nobody else is eating this. Like nobody's buying this. It's like something that they just sell in weird markets, and you realize, like, I'm totally a sucker for eating this. Nobody else is got it.
Try the big white American. He'll eat it.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
And give him the worst car to drive around, too. Let's make sure the car breaks down on him in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, there's definitely continuing in Expedition Unknown with the crappy vehicles. That is certainly something that will be still happening. It's impossible for me to get a good car anywhere in the world.
How does I don't know if you ever watch what the heck is the name of the show? Deadly Grounds, Dangerous Grounds, or Deadly Grounds.
Dangerous Grounds. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dangerous Grounds. How does he get the decent cars? Because most of his cars make it through the episode. Wherever he goes.
I know, right? Like I always think that. Like some of the countries we go to, I'm like, all right, I get it. We're in like Central Africa. It's tough to find a good 4x4. Other times, like I'll have some junker car, and it's like we're in Japan, and I'm like, everyone here is driving like spaceships in the future. How do I have the one crappy car in all of Japan? So I don't have a good answer for you. I just always end up with that cursed, I guess.
Oh my gosh! So
that's too funny.
Getting off the show just a little bit, we'll get back onto it. Obviously, that's why you're here. You're here to talk about the new show and make sure everybody's excited, as we definitely are. Because I gotta be honest, Josh, I've missed you. I've missed you on TV.
I've missed you too. I'm happy to be back.
Thank you. I knew it was mutual. See, I knew that. But
that Massachusetts bond you guys have.
Every time Destination Truth is on, I'm like, he knows I'm here. What's up, Josh? How you doing?
That's right.
But I talked a little bit about some, just to talk about your past a little bit. You know, as we mentioned, you have a degree in archaeology from Tufts University. You're also an honorary member of the Explorers Club, and as you stated, it's a prestigious organization dedicated to the advancement of exploration. But they also have stuffed polar bears and a lot of scotch, huh? Is that
That's right.
Which is best?
This is an organization that that I'd wanted to be a member of for a long time, because it is as cool as it sounds. I mean, it's this global organization of like badass explorer people. They have this headquarters in New York City that looks like something out of the Da Vinci Code. It's like this big brownstone with crackling fireplaces and old explorers sitting around, and they're not like kooky people. They're like astronauts and polar explorers and famous climbers. Like it's like a real deal organization. But look, their primary mission is to support real field sciences happening around the world. And so for me, it was always like, I don't know how to get into this thing, because you really have to demonstrate to be a member that you've made a contribution to field sciences. And so having an archaeology degree certainly helped me. I think monster hunting is not considered, pedigree enough for instant membership into the Explorers Club. So it took me a number of years to get in it, but I'm actually very proud of it. It's a really worthwhile organization, and they do some really amazing work. They have a great lecture series in New York. I'm just bummed that I'm not in New York enough to take advantage of it. But they have members all over the world. They're a really cool group.
Were you invited to join, or was it something that you kind of have to fill out an application and wait 5 years till they decide that
I'm trying to remember now. The application process was daunting. It was like you had to write a letter, sort of, why you felt like you should be in the club, but you needed 2 letters of recommendation from members in good standing. So I had to find 2 members of the club who would vouch for me. And one of them was an archaeologist that I had worked with, which was great. But it took me a few years to find someone else that I could, forge a relationship with to get me in. But because it really is like it's a lot of the members are like really high profile, explorer type. So it was like I didn't know enough people to kind of get into it at first. But then I eventually got my 2 letters, and they, whatever. I still feel like they made a mistake, but they let me in.
No, that's incredibly cool, and that's an honor.
Yeah.
That's like a secret society essentially. Right? I mean, think about it. I didn't know about honest.
Yeah, they are. They're a really cool group, and it's like Sir Edmund Hillary, who passed away a few years ago, who was the first man to climb Mount Everest. He was the president of the club for a long time. Like, it's like a who's who of really legit folks. So it's if you ever wanted to like rub elbows with somebody and have a scotch and talk to someone who has some great stories, the members there are like, they're just so fascinating.
Wow.
And just getting back to the shows, watching you on Destination Truth, and obviously seeing some of the previews here coming up for Expedition Unknown, you seem to genuinely, not just for TV, you seem to genuinely have an interest and be excited about the places you're traveling to and what it is that you're doing there. Mm-hmm. So I'm really interested to find out what's going to be happening in this Amelia Earhart episode coming up tomorrow, for the simple fact that it's a mystery. Everybody knows the story. Everybody knows what happened, but they've never found the plane. They've never found, where the crash actually happened. There's all kinds of ideas.
Theories and wreckage that supposedly is hers.
What's so fascinating about her story is that, her disappearance really probably is the most famous mystery of the 20th century. And, this was 1937. She vanished. It's been 75 years or so, and we don't know what happened to her. We don't know what happened to her navigator. We don't know what happened to their plane. And there are, though, groups of researchers around the world still trying to figure this out. Some of them are very high-tech explorers. Some of them are low-tech conspiracy theorists. I mean, there's a million theories about what happened to her. And so what we do is we really latch on to two of the most prominent and recent theories that seem to have a lot of traction. And there have been some really cool developments in this story, even in the last few months. A piece of aluminum has washed up on an island in the Pacific, which may be linked to her plane, which is a pretty, if it can be substantiated, is a pretty huge breakthrough. And so, this is a really cool story that our fascination with her has only grown over time. And I do have a real personal interest in her. I've always been really fascinated by her story. So to be able to travel to these really remote parts of the South Pacific and go bushwhacking through these jungles and diving on these wrecks and trying to, join this hunt for this missing explorer is just, it's just such a cool story, and it's such an important story, I think, too, because I think she sort of deserves the closure of us, finding her and finding her plane.
Right, exactly. And for the show, do you get to choose, or not do you get to choose, but do you have a say in what topic you want to go to next, or has it all been thought out?
No, it's very much a group effort over here. We basically are looking for stories similar to Destination Truth. Actually, we're looking for stories where there's some recent development, some recent breakthrough, some heat on the story. We don't want to do a story that has no new news. And so we're looking for things where there has been, where the needle has moved. And so that for us is where it gets exciting, when we can go link up with explorers or archaeologists that are looking into things that have a pulse, And,
right.
Just to sort of preview forward a little bit for the rest of the season, the stories have a really wide range, along with Earhart, which is the premiere. We're going to be looking for, this cursed supernatural relic in the jungles of Cambodia, which is a really cool story. This purportedly kind of haunted artifact in this river in Myanmar, which used to be called Burma, which is this very, closed off nation in Southeast Asia that very few camera crews have had a chance to go into and film. We're looking for lost pirate ships and mystical Viking sunstones, this really cool Viking object that supposedly gave them kind of almost supernatural abilities to navigate the seas. So some of the stories do have kind of a paranormal bent to them, a supernatural bent to them, but they are kind of broader. It's like these are just really cool legends and mysteries. So I think the stories are where we start. If it's an awesome story and we hear it and we're drawn in by it, we're like, hell yeah, let's put that up on the board.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, are there any Yeti moments? I mean, do you have any moments in this series coming up where you have, like as in finding the Yeti footprint, do you have any huge breaks that we can look forward to in this season where it's kind of, I don't want to say it shakes the investigation itself to the core, but one of those, wow, we didn't expect that, so happy we grabbed this, let's research this further?
For sure, in the Earhart episode, even, which of all the episodes was maybe the one that I had the least expectations for. It was like, this was such a huge story, and it's been picked over by so many experts that I thought, boy, are we really going to find anything new here? And we do. We make some really things that just kind of shook me up. We actually locate in the Earhart episode, actually in a couple of different instances, what turn out to be human remains. And so whether that links to the Earhart story or not is something I don't want to kind of give away, but it's that's something that just doesn't happen ever.
Yeah,
well,
right.
It does happen. It doesn't happen to me every day. So, to be a part of these investigations where we're finding remains like that, and there's a number of other stories throughout the season where we're really coming across artifacts and things that we're looking for. One of the stories takes us to a lost city in Southeast Asia that's recently been found. And so in that story, we're just trying to trek through this jungle to reach this place and document this city that's just now being unearthed from the jungles. And so we go to those places. We find those places. So there's all sorts of great payoff in the show where you're going to be seeing things and really getting to experience a lot of these things that we're looking for, which is great.
That's cool.
I'm looking forward to this more
and
more.
I'm thinking, as you're talking about this, I'm like, oh, I want to excavate again. I want to go.
You got the archaeology bug again.
It's pretty interesting listening to the stories. So I'm sitting here, and that the more you go on, the more I think of the bullwhip and the leather jacket and the hat, and it's Dr. Jones. He's going in, and but that's almost as if they've taken Indiana Jones. What was that?
I was just going to say, that's part of the thing about these stories. Like they're just great. These legends have such a natural hook. Like you don't even really need to sell them. It's like you just hear, okay, here's the story about this lost pirate ship, or here's the story about this, mysterious culture, and it's like, I'm in. You just hear those stories, and you're like, that's a cool story. What's really going on there? So that's really what the show is.
You're living every adventurer's dream. It is definitely to, hey, this was a cool story. I'm going to go find out more about it,
right.
and we're going to unearth some stuff. But as you said with Earhart, it is something that must have been a little intimidating going to do the episode because it has been picked over so much, and to find human remains. And again, you're not going to tell us, and that's perfectly expected. But to find human remains and have that moment where you're like, oh my God, am I really going to do this? Is this really a possibility that I'm staring at remains of Amelia Earhart?
Right.
What is that feeling? Take us through the emotions a little bit about what you feel as an adventurer and as an archaeologist at that moment where you're looking at these remains going, could this possibly be?
Yeah. For me, so much of it is surreal. It's like I really see my job out there, and in many ways it's the same as Destination Truth in that I always felt like my job out there was in a lot of ways to be documenter or storyteller, and to really bring the viewer on the expedition with us, and that's really what we're trying to do. And so sometimes you get lost in the experience of it, and you're out there and you're having this adventure, and I remember in the Earhart episode, there's a moment where we're diving, and we come across a wreck, an airplane wreck, and it's down there, and there's wings and propellers, and it's a plane, like it looks like a plane, and to be kind of investigating this wreckage, and then it's so exciting, and the adrenaline's going, and then I sort of step back and I go, oh my God, I'm like down here with a submerged airplane. Like how crazy is that? How cool is that? And so sometimes I have to step back and realize in the moment how just incredible some of these moments are. They're just really cool experiences, and the best part of it is that we're documenting it, and so I get to come back here, and in some ways it doesn't even hit me sometimes till I'm in the editing bay afterwards. I'm like, oh my God, look at this really cool place that we get to explore. Look at this really amazing tribe that we're meeting, and in some ways it's like it's almost too much to take in a moment, and then I look at it later and I get so excited all over again because I'm like, oh, we're going to get to share this with people and show people it's a really cool spot,
Yeah.
I can't even imagine. I get excited when I get a high score on a game on my cell phone. So.
Well, I do. We all do.
Is that high score? Did I win? Did I break it?
Did I do it? Yes. Oh, my phone died.
How long have you guys been in Gloucester for?
Marc's been here his whole life. I've been here for about a year and a half.
Yeah, I'll be turning 40 this year, Josh. Thanks for bringing that up. I appreciate it.
And are you born and raised in Gloucester?
I am. Yes, I am.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
We have a mutual friend, I believe. Her name is Heather Shad.
Heather Shad, yeah, absolutely. Wow, look at that.
Even if you didn't know her, you were going to go, Heather Shad? Yeah, sure,
Well, right, exactly. But in fact, I do. But that's
yeah, we were talking about the episode.
You don't have like a really thick Gloucester accent though.
Everybody says
no, he doesn't, and he doesn't. And when I first met him, I could hear the Boston accent, but the Gloucester's not so much.
I had
yeah.
I had a fantastic.
For me, if I get drunk enough, it kind of comes out.
Oh, that's inevitable. It happens to all of us.
Or when the Bruins are playing.
But I have I had a teacher in high school who was for whatever reason they made us take speech classes because of our accents, I guess. But he made us pronounce our R's and T's. So whenever I think of that, his name was Mr. Zergabel. He's since passed away. He was a fantastic guy, and but I always think of Betty Butter, bought a bit of butter, and I think of Mr. Zergabel. So yeah, I try hard not to sound like I'm from Gloucester, Josh. I think you can figure out why.
I love that guy's mission was just like trying to get every kid in Gloucester to not sound like he was from Gloucester.
It's like, if you want a fighting chance in this world, don't sound like you do now.
Don't sound like you do now.
Right. But like my dad totally has the accent. My mom is British, so she has an English accent, and I got like neither. It kind of got canceled out. But if I'm like totally drunk and I'm back home with my friends, then within about a half an hour I sound like I'm from, deep Boston.
You have the Veronica Corning. What does she call it? Veronica Corningstone from Anchorman.
Yeah.
Whatever she called it.
I don't remember.
God, I forget what it was called.
I don't remember.
The accent where you don't have an accent. Whatever.
Right. Yeah.
San Diego.
No.
She called it San Diego. No.
No.
We did have a question in the chat room, just asking, of all the places you've traveled to, what's your favorite, and would you go there again and given the opportunity?
My favorite is, and I always preface this by saying that it's obviously different for everybody. When you travel anywhere, you get out of the car, you get off the bus, you get off the plane, and you just get a feeling about a place where you kind of go, God, I love it here, or you're kind of like, I don't know about this place. And so it's so different for everyone. Like I have friends who, like, their favorite place in the world is like Ireland, and they go, oh, Ireland is the greatest place. And Ireland is awesome, but like, I've been to Ireland a few times, and I'm like, yeah, this is cool. But it's not like I'm scheming like, okay, how do I move here, tomorrow? But for me, that place is Southeast Asia. I love Southeast Asia. So Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, that Laos, that whole neck of the woods for me is, I don't know, every time I go there, I am just completely transfixed by it. I just think those countries are so cool. The people are so nice. The food is so great. The sights are amazing. So every time I'm there, I'm like, how do I live here? How do I move? Okay, I'm going to sell my car. I start going into that like fantasy world where I'm like going to move there, and then I'm like, what the hell am I talking about? I'm not moving to Vietnam. But yes, I would go back in a heartbeat, and I do go back. Every time I catch a break, I try to go over there like once a year and chill out a little bit. It's such a great part of the world.
Wow.
Nice.
So when you go there, do you set up a little booth and sell horde dice?
That's right. I set up a little horde dice table, and that reference will be lost on many people. But yeah, I was just over there. We filmed in Myanmar, which I mentioned a little bit ago, which is in Southeast Asia, which is a country I'd never been to in that neck of the woods. But I was in Cambodia last year, and it's so great over there. It's so cheap too. The trick is getting there. It's an expensive plane ticket, but once you're there, it's so cheap.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's much like Cyprus. Well, the way Cyprus used to be before they, Same
right.
thing.
Exactly.
A lot like going to Boston for me,
Yeah, no, that's Josh. If I could convince Marc to move to Cyprus, we'd be on a plane tomorrow.
I can't.
It's beautiful over there. I've only been there once. It is beautiful.
Travel called me and asked me if I wanted to have this show to travel the world and fly and look for familiar. I was like, no, I don't fly. I'm kidding.
Do you not fly at all?
I hate flying.
He cannot fly.
You have to Mr. T my ass to get me on a plane and fly me around the world. It just doesn't happen.
That's like Steve Gonzalez is like that.
Yeah.
Won't fly.
Yes.
Steve and I could drive around the world and probably be the two happiest guys in the world, just not being on a plane.
True. That's true. And Steve is like, that's the thing. It's like I'm always like, Steve, you gotta get over it. You gotta fly. And then I realize like he's happy as a clam. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
I watched that episode where they tried to get him on a plane.
He gets it,
Yeah.
I felt for him. I mean, the fact that he got as far as he did, I'm like, that's me. That's exactly. I look around and like he said, everybody's like, "Whoa, we're going on vacation." I'm looking around going, we're all gonna die. We're all gonna crash and die.
Right.
Jesus.
That's seriously what goes through my head.
Anxiety.
I start thinking like, geez, I'm hurtling through the air, 20, 30,000 feet above the ground with, inches of steel between me and nothing.
Yeah.
That's not supposed to happen.
Between something on the wing. Between that thing on the wing.
Yeah. So I feel for Steve when it comes to that, and but I also kudos to people like you who you basically live in airports and on planes. You spend however much time it is, a week or however many days you spend filming, but the plane flights there and back and around and to different locations blows my mind. I just can't imagine that anxiety that I would be going through
You had to do it.
every other day having to hop on a plane. So kudos to you, my friend.
It's a lot of air travel, really is, and I love to travel and I love airports and I love airplanes and all that stuff, but it is a lot, it is definitely, not that I'm complaining at all, because I feel like the luckiest guy in the world to be able to travel for work, but it is, like everything, it's kind of a be careful what you wish for scenario, because it's like, I want to travel the world and do things, and then it's like, okay, we're going to put you in an airplane seat for, every other day we're going to jam you into an airplane seat for the next year. And it's a lot, it's definitely a lot of uncomfortable long flights and bumpy roads, but I love it. It's it comes with a lot of great benefits as well.
Yeah, I mean, and you're tall, so I'm 5. I'm like just short of 5'1", and I'm cramped in an airplane seat, so I can't imagine what it must be like for you at 6'2".
I know, and it's so funny because it's better overseas sometimes. Like we just came back from filming in December and we flew home for Christmas in Boston, and that flight from LA to Boston was the worst flight I think I took all year. It was this red eye, around the holidays on a U.S. domestic flight. It was just so bad. It was so like hot and cramped. I had no room, and it's tough. If you're in the wrong headspace, flying is like the worst thing in the world. You have to totally go to another place.
Yeah, right.
You have to have like your iPod fully, a million albums, 10 movies, like a good book. You have to, sleeping pills, booze. You just need a full, you have to be in another zone these days to fly because it is tough out there.
Yeah, otherwise you're watching Queen Latifah movies over and over again.
Totally, right? You cannot trust the onboard movie.
The only time I saw an onboard movie, whatever you want to call it, when I was going to Germany. And yes, I have flown. It's not like I've never flown, but it was my Germany flight the one that traumatized me, and I'll never fly. Well, don't like flying anymore. But I was on my way to Germany, and I got to watch this incredible movie about the Loch Ness Monster starring Ted Danson. And I wanted to jump out of the plane.
Wow, I've never seen that. I want to go look that up.
You've never seen that?
Was it an old sci-fi movie?
Oh. It's amazing.
Oh,
I have to go look that up.
It was terrible. Obviously, it was an in-flight movie, so it had to be terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was Ted Danson, and he was looking for the Loch Ness Monster, and it was not a good movie.
That's horrendous. Oh God. But anyway, back on track. I have a serious question for you, Josh. If you don't want to answer it, that's fine. But on your dossier, it says that you excavated in the Mediterranean. Where did you excavate?
When I was in college, worked with I went to Tufts University right there in Massachusetts, but I worked with a group from University of Maryland in Israel, on the coast of Israel, a Roman harbor complex there called Caesarea. And so I excavated there in the summers in college. Yeah, it was so much fun. I really miss it.
Wow. I'm jealous. I'm like so jealous right now. What?
Do you have a master's in archaeology? Is that right?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You have a master's in archaeology. Is that true?
I do. Yeah. I studied at the University of Albany SUNY because I was poor, so that's the only college I could go to. But I have my bachelor's is in classical archaeology, and my master's is Mediterranean archaeology with a concentration in Cypriot archaeology.
That's amazing. And have you thought about kind of going back into pursuing that at all?
I'm sorry?
Have you thought about going and pursuing that full time at all?
I did a while ago. I did a few years ago, but actually it was more than a few years ago now. It's probably like 5 years ago. But just I don't have the luxury right now of just taking off to do a PhD. So it's kind of, if the opportunity comes about, I will absolutely do it. Definitely. But right now I just can't. Yeah. But speaking of that, you did an episode for Destination Travel. Wow, really? Destination Truth. Jesus. The Ghost of Masada.
It's okay. You plug Travel Channel at the same time.
I did two plugs
you plugged everything at once there. It was good.
But the Ghost of Masada episode, I did not get to see that. What was that like?
It was cool. I had been to Israel a few times in college when I was doing field work out there for archaeology. It was a chance to go back, and Masada it's a wild place. It's in the Judean desert. It's really a desolate landscape. It looks like something out of Star Wars. It's this really otherworldly kind of desert, and Masada is this butte that just sticks up off the desert floor. It's like this platform that just goes up about 1,000 feet. And on top there was a big palace complex on top that was abandoned, and there was about, I'm going to get the year wrong, but there was a few thousand years ago, there was a Jewish revolt against the Roman Empire, and these Jewish zealots went up to the top of Masada and basically holed up there men, women, and children, and the Romans kind of tried to starve them out. They had them trapped up there, and they all committed suicide in the end. It was really sort of, tragic, this tragic kind of siege that ended with this mass suicide, and it's a very spooky place. And so one of the great thrills of working in travel adventure TV, and it's certainly true on Expedition Unknown, and it was true on Destination Truth as well, is being able to spend the night or to have access to these places kind of off hours, when nobody else is there. And so to spend the night on top of Masada alone, just my crew and I up there, was a really wild experience. I think whether you believe in ghosts or not, people always, I meet so many skeptics who say they don't believe in the paranormal at all. But when you're alone in a place like that, whether you believe in ghosts or not, it's an almost spiritual experience. It's really a very powerful feeling place. There are these places in the world that we go to where it feels different. You feel kind of a weight to certain places, and that's what it felt like there. So it was a really wild night, and we had some amazing activity there. I'm a kind of always been a paranormal kind of agnostic and want to believe, and that was a night where I saw some of the most impressive stuff we ever saw. Great thermal hits and strange noises and EVPs. It was a really wild experience.
Wow, that's interesting. And as you're talking about places like that where you feel like you're the only person in the world, one of the sites that I excavated at when I was in college was a place called Satira Tepes. Well, actually, Satira Kamenudia was the early Bronze Age site, but Tepes was the Chalcolithic site just up the hill, and it was exactly the same thing. You go up there, and there's just the small stone outlines of the little tiny huts, and there's nobody else up there except, and all you hear are the goats down in the village eating away.
Yeah, it's a really wild. It's a wild thing when you go to places like that run really deep with history. You really feel the depth of that history.
Exactly.
That's something, everybody talks about history here in America, and unfortunately, most people here in America would rather, I don't want to say forget, but ignore history, and, we build around everything and walk past all these historical findings or historical spots every day. But you travel to Europe and in the Middle East and in Asia, our history doesn't even come close to the history that's over there.
Oh yeah,
yeah. We're new. People from Europe here, and it's like we're like we think of Boston as like this super old city, and they're like, "What are you kidding? This is like brand new."
However, Josh, if you read National Geographic, do you read National Geographic? I hold the first American issue.
We have a copy of that here. Actually, I haven't read it yet.
You should. The first American they found in the Yucatan at the Hoyo Negro cave. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me go start again.
Right,
Cave in Yucatan. The Hoyo Negro team.
Yeah.
They found bones that are 12,000 years old that reportedly are our ancestors.
We have old stuff here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. We got it.
We got it.
It works.
We're good.
But yeah, he doesn't have anything going on. He can read. He'll read National Geographic all day long. Nothing happening.
Josh, I've seen Destination Truth. He can read on the plane.
It's true. I have a lot of downtime.
We only have a few moments left, Josh, of your time, and I'm sure you're happy to hear that. So.
Not at all.
I have someone texting me who's listening, but I guess doesn't want to be in our chat room at the moment. So he's texting me asking if the St. Joseph is still your favorite sandwich.
Oh, I mean, I think that my favorite sandwich is probably not to disparage the St. Joseph, which is a terrific sandwich, but I'm kind of a Nick's roast beef guy.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna leave Gloucester and head over to Beverly for my favorite sandwich. I'm going Nick's roast beef, large beef, cheese, sauce, mayo. That's my order.
Nice.
Super three-way or big super three-way. Yeah. Gotta go super
right.
three-way. First time I ordered one of those with Lauren, she was like, "A what?"
That's right. Large beef, cheese, sauce, mayo.
I'm like, I don't know. I want that, whatever that is.
But what can if you had to leave the show with something profound that you would like people to take away from just hearing Josh Gates speak, is there anything that you would like to say that you don't get the opportunity to normally say when people are doing interviews with you? Is there anything that kind of kicks around and you go, geez, I wish they would have talked to me about that?
I think I would just say, and I don't know about saying anything profound, but I think one thing that, I get asked a lot, and I was asked it during the Reddit chat, and a lot of people come up to me and say, I really, I've never traveled and I really want to travel, and how do I, people say, how do I get the job that you have? How do I do what you do? And really, it's like I got the job that I have because I was really passionate about just independently traveling, and I think what you were saying a minute ago is really true, that we don't travel enough internationally in America. I think there's a lot of good reasons for that. It's not I'm not sort of taking us all to task. America's a really big, diverse destination on its own. So a lot of us, when we travel, we choose to travel domestically. But I always want to sort of say to people who say that they want to travel more, that that the way to do that is to just do it. Travel doesn't need to be expensive. It doesn't need to be something that's for other people. It's for everybody. And our goal on Expedition Unknown is to take viewers kind of off the map and to bring them on an exciting expedition and to hopefully inspire them to plan some of their own trips. So to anyone out there who's listening who's excited about the idea of traveling and hasn't taken the plunge yet and gone out there, there's so much information online these days about how to plan your own trip, and I would just encourage people to get saving, get planning, and to make this the year that you're going to travel.
Excellent.
Nice. I like that advice.
It is good advice too.
Yeah.
Because there are too many people out there that it's too easy to go, well, why can't I, or why don't I, or how could I, instead of saying I'm going to. Yeah. I'm just going to do this.
And for most people, like Josh said, for most people it's money. But you know what? You don't have to travel internationally at first. You don't have to make your first trip, I'm going to Rome. Yeah. Your first trip can be,
that's right.
I've never been to Iowa, so I'm going to go to Iowa.
Totally. You can get in your car and you can go somewhere. But even internationally, it can be done on a budget, and it really can. And there's the right times of year, and there's flight sales, and there's all sorts of things like that.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
And go somewhere with an agenda. Don't go somewhere just like, I'm going to go to Philadelphia.
Like willy-nilly go to Philadelphia.
Go to Philadelphia, or go to Boston. Lauren and I were in Boston last weekend, or over New Year's Eve, and we were walking around, and there are cemeteries there that Paul Revere and John Hancock are buried in. It's like,
I know, it's amazing.
How many people? I think people just walk past that. People are across the street drinking their pints in a bar, and it's like, dude, people who shaped our country are lying right here. Take a moment, walk in there, and just kind of pay homage to them before you move about your day. It's crazy.
Totally.
The American history lies all around us, and people don't take enough time to stop and enjoy it and appreciate it because they're too self-absorbed with the Starbucks and the Dunkin' Donuts, and that's okay. But we should take a moment. We should take a moment to remember things, because if we don't, stuff's going to go down too, real fast.
That's where
like
Josh's show comes in.
That's right, and that's where we can sit
That's
back.
where Expedition Unknown comes in.
We can watch Expedition Unknown on the Travel Channel. And Josh, why don't you tell everybody about that and maybe how they can see you on social media?
For sure. So the show premieres tomorrow night, Thursday, January 8th at 9 p.m., 8 o'clock Central Time. It's on the Travel Channel. And you can visit my website, which is joshuagates.com, or I tweet at Joshua Gates, or you can visit the Travel Channel at travelchannel.com, and there's a link on there to the show as well.
Excellent. And what's your phone number for all the listeners?
Sure, it's 555.
And Josh, just as you're saying that, the commercials on right now, and there you are.
Yes, and there's Josh.
Oh, look at that.
The camera.
Well, that's good. Good sign, right?
Thank you so much for being a guest on The Hangover, and we look forward to talking again and maybe working with you someday.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you guys so much. It was a pleasure.
Pleasure.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And there you have it, Mr. Josh Gates.
Josh Gates.
So, yeah.
I had about a million more questions to ask him about archaeological things, but I feel like he would have been like, okay, we'll talk somewhere else.
Actually,
quit yip-yapping.
No, listen. Mr. Josh Gates was talking back and asking you perfect questions, so why not?
Very interesting. He's very interesting. I find it comforting that there are still people in the world that appreciate archaeology.
Yeah.
And enjoy discussing it because they've experienced it. Not that I don't like everybody else. Don't take it that way.
True.
It's just, you know.
Yeah, and I'm excited to have that conversation. I'm glad Josh agreed to come on The Hangover tonight.
Yeah, that was very cool of him.
Yeah, gave our listeners a treat, and I appreciate everyone who was in the chat room. Sorry there was a little bit of audio issues in the beginning, but it looks like everything came around as the show went on. So
I'm actually very excited to watch tomorrow. I'm excited to see what this season brings.
Yeah. So don't forget, folks, SalemCon, April 10th through and 11th through the 12th.
Yep.
At the Hawthorne Hotel in Salem, Massachusetts. You can go to mghparanormal.com and get your tickets, tables. If you want to sponsor us, you can sponsor it. You can donate if you want to donate.
Yeah, people really want to donate. That happens.
Just remember, Mr. John Tobin making his one and only appearance of the year as a guest speaker at SalemCon.
Yep.
You have Dustin Pari, John Zaffis, Brian Cano,
Tim Weisberg,
Jeff
Scott
Belanger,
Grunwald,
Scott
Grunwald.
Scott Grunwald, flying all the way from California
to be with us.
I'm only flying him halfway. He's going to ride a pony the rest of the way.
Yeah, actually, you know what? He should call Josh to arrange transportation.
Yeah.
From Missouri, where we're leaving him.
Let's do that. Awesome. But anyway, rooms, listen, if you're booking a room at the Hawthorne Hotel, rooms start at $139 a night, and for double occupancy, it'll be $159.
But we have packages.
Yeah. So look at mghparanormal.com. The packages are there with hotel. The packages are there without hotel.
Yeah.
Single event packages are there. Tables are available. Our pictures are on the website. You can buy stuff in our store if you want to. Otherwise, everybody have a great night. Thank you very much for tuning into The Hangover, and we'll catch you next Wednesday. Don't want to miss that show either.
It'll be fun.
Bye.
I promise.